and welcome to Aussie Vision. It's the day of the Eurovision Grand Final. It's day 5, 6, something. I don't know. We've lost count. It's been an exhausting week, that's all I can say. But, Mike, we did go to the jury grand final in the arena last night. Any initial thoughts on the show overall?
Look, it's a good show. For the local fans, the Laura Pausini medley at the start is obviously going to be a highlight. Generally, they kept the show ticking along. We didn't really get to see too much of the interval act as far as a stand-in Måneskin took the stage and Aussie Vision left.
Yeah, they basically, because Måneskin are going to be there, but they had stand-ins and you could see the disappointment. Everyone cheered for Måneskin and then randos were out there.
Couple of little kids, and I just felt so sorry for them.
I know, but there's been a lot of drama with Måneskin. They got caught in an elevator, someone did something to the leg. Anyway, enough about them. They were last year's news. Now, I think the big thing that we noticed from last night is the running order is a little unusual.
It just feels like it sags a little in the middle. A bit. Obviously, the organisers are hamstrung a little. You've got first half and second halves being drawn. There's just something about that middle section. Probably could have done with a little bit of a pow. So, but it comes home strongly.
Yeah, and I think that's almost the problem. Is like bang, bang, bang in a row. Particularly the big three jury kind of male vocalists are in a row, and you have this kind of like area in the middle where there's not much happening at all. So yeah, some unusual choices, but it'll still be a great grand final nonetheless. All right, well, let's talk about some of the contenders, and these haven't changed that much during the week. A couple of little movements over here and there. Number one, we start with, they're still the favourites very strongly. It is Ukraine. You still feeling that they can take this out?
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. I don't think it was the most amazing jury performance we saw. There was obviously some microphone problems in the stadium, apparently through the TV screen.
Fine.
It was fine, so that shouldn't affect them as far as jurors. It's still got the momentum, and I just say the televote's coming for this. It might even be so much that it renders the jury score irrelevant, to be honest. So it's still very much up there.
They'll still get jury score, so that's the main thing. I still think they need something.
Of course.
But they don't need a huge amount, I don't think. But saying that, weirdly, I kind of felt last night for the first time, on the ground, it had kind of lost a little momentum. It didn't have the same impact, because the first time they came out, and they've been out a few times this week, but it's a crowd that is kind of knowledgeable. It's a crowd that's been here. And on the Saturday night, it's fresh eyes, and it's back to that emotion the very first time we saw it as well. So the little bit of doubt I had, I just have to take the logical brain and go, no, it'll be fine. I think they'll take it out. Next up, now UK, they've actually climbed up to second in the odds. They were always kind of looking to do it. That staging is immense. It takes a long time to put that together.
Yeah, which is a very odd reason why they would put Australia and the UK back to back. Two of the biggest setups we saw for the night. Don't really know why. I guess that's not his fault. What he does very well. It is a stunning vocal, really. The staging, I quite enjoy. I don't know why there's a band there. That seems completely superfluous. But apart from that, look, it should do pretty well. Jury-wise, yes, it should do well. I still have a little bit of a doubt if the European public are going to come for the UK to a winner's degree. Let's put it that way. I think he'll be rewarded, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see what the Europeans think.
The fact we're talking about UK up here in second in the odds is like amazing and exciting for the United Kingdom. And whatever the result is, this is going to be fantastic. Top 10 is the number one aim, and then everything else from there is a bonus. It does have this massive visual impact as well. I don't think the running order's been amazing either. I think even for the jury, I don't think Poland or UK and Australia wouldn't want to all be put together.
And then throw in Sweden there as well.
Oh, I know. But also, particularly, like, Sam's voice is stunning and it's so different, but then you have Poland that goes afterwards and it's the most perfect vocal in the world. So, but UK are on for a great result and truly deserve it. Next up, Sweden. I thought that was a really good performance last night.
Maybe this is the one I've had too long on. I've been a massive fan of the song. I feel this is losing a little bit of momentum, to be honest. Particularly when you put it up against Australia, UK and Poland straight after her. I was thinking this could be a jury winner. I'm no longer thinking that. This should do well with the juries. I'm also worried about the Sweden effect as far as the televote. I don't know. This one I think might be scraping into the top 5.
Yeah, oh, interesting. I thought now there's a lot of your eyes can go elsewhere for telly, your eyes can go elsewhere for jury, so maybe it does drop a little bit down there. I did think last night she gave one of her best performances. She definitely put some vocal flourishes on at certain points. I think to get that sweet, sweet jury love, how much that would pay off as well, we don't know. But still, in the running, it's just nice to see Sweden back with such an amazing song. It's still my absolute favourite. Every time I see it, it's just a wonderful experience. So great work for Sweden. Now, Italy's fourth in the odds. They've been dropping. Their odds have dropped significantly, actually, as a winner. But I still think they're on for a pretty decent result.
This is one I'm putting ahead of Sweden. I think this is really impressive. The boys know when to turn it on. Obviously, it helps you have the home crowd singing along, and there's a whole vibe. There's an atmosphere to this. I don't know why it's that low. I don't think it's probably going to win, but it's on for a top 4 to 5 result, 3 result kind of thing. I think this is strong, really, really strong.
I've not been a massive fan all the way from Sanremo to here, but I must say there's something very special about the chemistry and what Mahmoud and Blanco bring when they bring it, and they are certainly going to bring it to the grand final. They've just got to obviously make sure the emotion and the chemistry doesn't impact those vocals. Always spoke about those high registers they hit. When it's off, it's really off, and the televote can punish them. When Italy always kind of relies on that televote love. So it seemed to be a very good performance last night. I think they're on a good result. I have my doubts about the top 3 though, but I do think it's around that 5th-ish area. All right, one that's certainly been gaining momentum and went off in the crowd last night was Spain. One of your favourites, Michael.
Yes, this is amazing. And I'm not saying that just because I like the song, etc. It is a world-class performance. Seeing her perform that on stage live, it's really at a level a lot of the others aren't. Maybe not vocally, but certainly in presentation. It is terrific. This for me should be pushing for top 3. It's all about that jury, as we've always spoken about, because I think the televoters should really enjoy this, and it stands out. It's one of the few up-tempo, here we are, vote for me songs, and she does it brilliantly.
She does. She definitely does. And I think this goes off. I'm just also being careful not to be blinded by it's a wonderful stadium performance. It is definitely singing to the choir of people on the ground. And people on the ground do not represent the European public. And I think they have sometimes struggled to go for big numbers like this. Even Fuego didn't smash it in a year where there wasn't a lot of other stuff. And I think there's other songs that still turn the televote. So I'm not sure this is not a televote winner, and I don't think it's going to smash the jury. It'll do okay. I think at the moment, I still think 5th place is kind of its ceiling. I could be very wrong. We obviously disagree, but nonetheless, it's amazing and I love it. And it's going to go down as one of the most iconic performances at Eurovision for fans.
If you told me I would be pushing Spain ahead of, say, Italy and Sweden, I would have laughed at you last week. But no, it's that good. Really, really that good.
All right, well, let's talk about some wildcards starting to pop out. Actually, no, before we talk about wildcards, let's talk about Australia.
Yes.
Again, another vocal powerhouse performance from Sheldon last night in the jury.
I thought he was almost perfect. Almost perfect, exactly what he wanted. He needs a good jury score. Look, it was terrific. I don't think you could ask for anything more. Everything went well. It's one of those songs too. It commands respect. The stadium just goes completely quiet when he comes on, and he came on after Sweden, so that was really good. Yeah, he's done everything he can. Hopefully, a good televote performance tonight, and the cards will fall where they fall.
I always felt there was more respect and more of an audience reaction in this than the live semi the other night from the jury, because I felt like it isn't even though we're surrounded by a lot of other really big countries and entries, I think it is being swept up in that kind of moment, and it does stand alone for what it is. It's just going to be where the cards fall, because I think it can still do very, very well in the jury. It just depends how well. And televote's always a question mark with Australia. We just don't know, and there's a lot of other places to turn. But nonetheless, we have sent a really good entry that looks good, it sounds good, and then the cards fall where the cards fall.
Yeah, look, to be honest, as far as the running order, I don't think it's done us any favours. I'd probably prefer to be where Azerbaijan or Greece are performing.
Greece area, yeah.
So that probably might hurt our televote, because we have got quite a few around us that are very televote friendly, one would imagine.
Exactly. Look, I still think... I think left-hand side of the scoreboard at that kind of bottom. I'm worried about the top 10 now just because of the running order. But it could look, if it's 14th, 15th, 11th, 10, 9, anywhere. Like, just to be in the grand final. Even if it's 20th, I don't care. It's fine. He deserves a good result. This has been a wonderful performance. Now, let's talk about the wildcards. Serbia, Michael.
Serbia. This is really, it's so compelling. We're fans. There's generally fans in the stadium. So I'm not completely sold this is going to go pan-European. But it's good, and it really is. We're watching it on the screen as well. She comes through. There's something. It's such a wild card for me. I wouldn't be surprised if this is in the top 4 of the tally vote at the end of it. How much juries are going to go for it, I'm not entirely sure.
This is huge in Serbia, obviously, and the Balkan region at the moment. This reason it's getting the most YouTube views of anyone, because YouTube's used very predominantly in that area as well. You add all those televotes together, you're already getting a good televote. Not because it's just neighbour, but because this is a song that is working there and has been big commercially there as well. And it is compelling for the West. And it is, I think, interesting. And the message, I think a lot of jury members will know about at least to some degree. So the crowd reaction comes through. I think, this feels definitely a top 10 song, whereabouts that ends up happening. And it's been a wonderful story. And she's such a wonderful performer. So I'd have no issue with that whatsoever.
Yeah, it's a great performance. Not that you think it would be, but it is.
Poland.
Wow, just vocal of the night last night. It's mind blowing. It's like blow your socks off kind of stuff in the stadium, and I'm sure that comes through on the TV. Look, I hate the effects that they've put into the staging. It just makes it cheap a bit. Everything else is good. The dancers are good. He's terrific. Obviously, there's some connection problems, but apart from that, it's still going to get votes. It's just you just can't ignore it. It's just too big a vocal.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I don't think the song is as strong as some other ones, but that vocal, he pops for a jury, I think, as you run through. And even though I think the staging is a little bit weird at sometimes, there's some really effective parts, some not so effective parts. But generally, we know when Poland send a good song, the Poles get behind it, and generally people will get behind it. So you're going to get some televote score. So I think he's on for a good result. How good? I don't know. I sort of see that bottom part of the 10. I still don't see it getting up towards anywhere the 5. But if Poland make the 10, that would be insane.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if you got to the 5. But middle of the 10 is where I'm about.
Yeah, it depends if juries are going to reward that vocal or the song.
Yep.
And you never know sometimes what they do. Tamara Tadevska. Moldova is mine. I'm jumping in here. The reason I'm going big on this one is this pops in that running order. If it was somewhere else, I'd be like, okay, midfield, blah, blah, blah. This is it pops in the stadium because, yes, fans and all that, but it's going to pop through that TV screen as well. People want some quirk and some fun as well, always, and they do a really good job of what this is. I think this can be top 5 in the televote. Where that makes it fall overall, because I can't see juries coming much for it. But I do think it could be I think it can be left-hand side of the scoreboard, and it could be the surprise packet top 10 at Eurovision.
I would imagine left-hand side top of is probably its ceiling, simply because of the jury score. If it was up to the televote, you're right, it's probably going to come pretty big. People like this type of music. People associate it with Eurovision. It's going to have its fans. Yeah, and you're right. The running order does do it some favours.
Every artist, everyone in the stadium was going off for it. Every delegation, except for one, we won't name them, were going off to this song last night. So it was fantastic. Chanel, Alvan and Hez. The other one also just worth mentioning here is Greece, because I think it's such a great package overall. I think it's maybe lacking that killer impact, but we've seen so many times juries come for, you've just done everything right. And Greece has done everything right on this song. I think it's got some more commercial radio appeal than a lot of other songs. She hits the vocal. She hits the staging. Normally, I'd be almost putting this into like up towards jury winner area, but it feels this year so weird to pick. I don't know, maybe they'll come for it, maybe they won't, but I definitely think it's one to watch for jury particularly.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think for her there are just some really bombastic jury, hey, look at me, vote for me kind of songs. Not that her vocal is poor or anything like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if it falls into that sort of lower 10 of the jury, middle 10 of the jury, and we'll see what the televote thinks, because it is very, very good, but it's not pow, wow, look at me.
Yeah. Well, look, those are some of the contenders, the wild cards. I think my big thing from this is we haven't even talked about Norway here, but I think Armenia's on for something here as well. But also, I think we're going to get a really big difference in a lot of songs with jury and televote that we haven't seen before from multiple songs. Not just like the Norway or the Poland of 2016, like 4 or 5 were like this.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. There's some songs out there that are pretty strictly televote kind of songs. And I'd even say there's a few there that are strictly jury type songs.
Yeah.
So we could see a big disparity between them. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it for now. Enjoy the grand final and go Australia, go Sheldon. And we hope your